Welcome to our Cleancast today. Thanks for joining us. I've entitled this one Time for the Interview. You know, we've talked about in previous podcasts and on my blog that I hope some of you are reading, or hopefully all of you are reading, on our website. We've discussed and talked about the tremendous cost associated with recruiting employees in this business. Now, we are in a lower income or a lower economic base for wages, so our costs are not as much as, let's say, a large Fortune 500 company. But nevertheless, in our industry, it costs in excess of $500 to recruit just one employee to your payroll. And you've heard me say this before, and I've actually done studies with companies that I trust would give me accurate records, and they actually say it's more than that. It's more like $525. But nevertheless, I won't quibble over $25 per employee, but it can be really mounting up. So, you know, keeping that in perspective, if you've got 50 employees, and let's say you made 100 W-2s last year with 100% turnover, that cost you $25,000. 25 grand to bring on those other 50. Now, I bring that up because the industry average is about 325%, and I've heard recently that it's about 350% nationwide in this industry. So that means if you have 100 employees on your payroll, you probably are making, if you're average in this industry, you're making somewhere around 425 to 450 W-2s at the end of each year. Now that's some big dollars. When you start thinking about, let's say 300 employees more, times $500, what is that? That's $150,000? Yeah. So what I thought it would be interesting to do is talk a little bit about the actual interview that we do with a prospective employee, because it really starts there to try to get them on board so that they want to participate and be with you, with your company. You know, up till now you spent a lot of time and energy and money trying to get them in the door. You can say we got openings, and you know we've got all kinds of creative ways to try to recruit them. But now here they are, they're ready for the interview, and it's your opportunity to sell the benefits of working for your company. You know, one thing that I've learned in this business over the years, and I've got almost around 55 years now in the business. One thing I've learned is that the attitudes of prospective employees and current employees mirrors your attitude, mirrors the attitude of the management staff. So if you are thinking of this part-time job that you're interviewing for as just a stopgap for them to get a paycheck till they go on to the next job, they're going to sense that. But if you will sell it as a positive opportunity for them for a permanent part-time job that could possibly work into a permanent full-time job, you're going to get their attention. But you got to have something to offer them too. You can't just say, well, hang around and we'll see what happens. You know, it's important for you to sell the job, sell what you have. Remember, in one of our podcasts, and I'm not just sure when it is, when it's running or when it's run, but we talk about in there we talk about building our own supervisors, and as we're going to build our own supervisors, this is the time that you can start looking for, you know, this person, yeah, I'm hiring them to do floors, or I'm hiring them to dump the trash. But you know what? I think there's more in that head of theirs than what I see, than what's really being shown. So this may be a good prospect. You know, the point is, if you don't extol the virtues of your company in this interview, who's going to? You know, they're not. If you don't tell them what's available in your organization, who's going to? They're not going to. If they go to the competitor's not going to say, you need to go to work for the other guy because he's really got a good company. But you need to be talking in terms of what's available, what's the long-range plan. We have some great opportunities in this industry, great opportunities in this industry. Plus the fact we have, we can have family atmosphere. You know that less than 2% of the companies in this industry have over 100 employees? Less than 2% out of 55,000. Think about that. So you have an opportunity to show the culture of your organization. You see, the people that walk in your door to complete an application and want an interview, they're your customers. If you're in the HR department, that's your customer. We always talk about customer relations. We talk about customer satisfaction. And we always seem to relate it to the end user, the one that's buying and selling, buying our service and sending us the cash. And boy, that's important. But here's the HR department, Human Resources, has the job of this, making their customer, that prospective employee, making their customer want to work here. And if we do that right, if we do that interview right, and we do that orientation right, we stand a much better chance of sending the right people out in the field. Before you jump on me, I know there are people who will interview well, who will go through the orientation. Number one, may not even show. Number two, will work one night and quit. I understand it. But our odds and our opportunities are much better if we will have a systematic way to extol the virtues of our company. Not overpuff it, not oversell. I used to work for a man years ago when I was just a puppy. Man, he hired salespeople. He'd bring them in. You're going to make so much money. Oh my God! Oh, there's so much money out there. And the guys had quit about every 3 months later because they're making $500 a month. And they couldn't live on that, and they had to pay their own travel expenses. So, anyway, also, it's another point that I want to make, and that is if you are a company that is trying to recruit and hire employees from different cultures, maybe from different parts of the world, it's important that you as Human Resources know what those cultures, what those customs are. I'm sure that many of you, if you're hiring people from other nations, probably have hired one or two, and then they have brought others to you to hire. But it's still important for Human Resources to know that what occurs during an interview, if you're interviewing an Asian or a Hispanic or a whatever, Eastern European person, they have different cultures than we do. It's nice. You need to know how they will be in an interview so that you know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. You've heard me say before that in some cultures, when they're interviewing for a job, they are taught never to look at the interviewer in the eye, because if you look down and you're not talking to them, that's showing a sign of respect. Here in the United States, we say, man, if you can't look me in the eye, I can't trust you. So those are the kinds of things that you need to know as you're talking about different cultures. But it's in the interview process, if you don't extol the virtues of your company, I'm sure nobody else is going to. You owe it to that prospective employee. Some of them aren't going to work. They're just not going to work. You can't, you have to know what you can ask, what you can't ask, and you know that. I mean, you can find it. And fact of the matter, you can go to my website, consultantsinCleaning.com, and you can click on the work. I can't remember now what it is, but one of the work papers, I think it's called. But you can click on that one and scroll down, and there are interview questions that you can ask, interview questions you shouldn't ask. And we update it occasionally, but obviously we're not lawyers, so I can give you the general gist of it, but be careful that you also get legal advice on any of the questions that you can or can't ask. So what are you doing to help your company in the interview? Are you letting a prospective employee know that there is an opportunity for advancement at your company? Or are you just saying, well, this is a part-time job, they're going to leave anyway, so why spend the time? Think about it. Thanks for joining us today. See you next time.